Hey guys, I'm Sheree Smith. Welcome to SnapComms, where we bring you news in a snap. A policy is now in place to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the territory's public officers in the workplace. The recent cabinet-approved Health and Safety Policy and Procedural Manual was officially launched earlier this month, and it outlines the government's commitment to ensuring the protection of its officers, clients, contractors, suppliers, visitors, neighbors, and public from hazards and risks associated with its operations, and to provision adequate workplace facilities. Here with me, I have Health and Safety Coordinator in the Human Resources Department, Mrs. Dawn Leonard. Mrs. Dawn Leonard, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Mrs. Leonard, as a public officer, I'm wondering, how does this policy benefit me?
That's a very good question. As you would know, health and safety is actually enshrined in law in the Labor Code. The Labor Code that was established in 2010. The law was passed in 2010. So it's Part 9 of the Labor Code, which speaks to health, safety, and welfare. So the law protects you already. But having the policy then helps bring the public service compliant with the law, which requires you to have a policy. And so having the policy, actually, there's a physical document now within the public service that public officers can hold their managers accountable for their own health and safety. But it also acts and requires them as well to look out for their own safety, because safety is everyone's responsibility. So it's just having that document now that they can reference in terms of their own health and safety and the day-to-day activities on the job that would help them to ensure that they're actually being safe while they work.
Mm-hmm. And you spoke about holding managers accountable, and so I want to know who will be managing the implementation of this policy and who will be monitoring it to ensure that all the principles outlined are met.
Okay, so managers are principally responsible for the implementation. However, the Department of Human Resources, under the Health and Safety Unit, we are helping with that implementation. So we have some hand-holding, a kind of hand-holding process where we've already given them all the documents that they require in one package on the day that the policy was actually launched in October. So they have all the information that they need. And they also have a timeline as well, and the items that they need, the milestones that they need to achieve within a specific time period. But the Health and Safety Unit within the Department of Human Resources will be monitoring the process through follow-ups, through audits that we will be doing quarterly. Managers will also be expected to do their own internal audits to make sure that they're meeting their milestones on the implementation, the various implementation aspects of the policy.
Okay, and as we take a trip back down memory lane, back to October, where we were introduced to the policy officially and the manual were given out to these various managers, top managers, we also were introduced to a committee, right? So what is the role of the Joint Workplace Health and Safety Committee?
Okay, so within the law, it speaks to having this Joint Workplace Health and Safety Committee. Every establishment, every organization that has more than 25 persons in its remit must have this based on the law. And this committee, this particular committee is responsible for overseeing health and safety throughout the public service. So it's comprised of a variety of expertise. You have disaster management represented, we have engineers represented, town and country planning, we have facilities represented, we have environmental health represented. So it's a wide cross-section. And what they will do, they would meet regularly, and part of their role is to also do investigations of accidents, incidents, anything that has to do with health and safety, if they're called upon to do that. If there's a new equipment that comes in that requires new training and so forth, they might have oversight over that. And they're also required to give advice to the DG and to the Director of Human Resources. So it's a very important committee to have. But following on to what the law requires, we're also going to be establishing ministerial joint workplace health and safety committees. So each ministry will have their own, and it would comprise basically of maybe 6 persons, 7 to be more accurate, maximum. And it will be a mixture of management and staff.
Yeah,
as required by law.
Yes, I appreciate the diversity in the selection of the individuals who have the opportunity to join.
Yes, and I think that it would go a long way in helping us to achieve what we want to achieve.
Okay. Yeah. On to something more exciting, the Last Man Standing Challenge. That was one for the books. Yes. I think it's not just a subjective comment to say it was a success, because we would have heard it across the board from various public officers. What other events, activities, programs that we have planned coming up that will support this policy?
Okay, like I said before, we do have a full implementation plan that was already shared. However, you did mention the Last Man Standing Challenge, and we did that to help showcase the policy in a fun way, showcase health and safety, showcase health. You know, just being active is something that we also recommend. But as far as the implementation of the policy goes, we're hoping that we have Last Man Standing again, and that would be become an annual event, because it was a grand success, and I know persons will look forward to it next year, God's willing. Also, another area that we also look to highlight health and safety is on ILO Day, or International Day for Safety at Work. That's going to be on April 28th, I think, and we're planning to do a lot of things. We're not doing it alone. We're going to partner with the Workplace Health and Safety, Occupational Health and Safety Subcommittee, which is a national committee which focuses on health and safety nationally. So that's something that should be really exciting, that we look forward to, and we plan to utilize our other partners to make that a grand success as well. And then as we go along planning, you will hear more about other activities that we plan to implement. Tidy Friday, we started this back in HR. Some other agencies have already begun doing that. And Tidy Friday really is just to bring focus to how do we declutter, how do we help clean up. You know, after the storm, we're not in ideal situations, and so it's important to keep our little areas tidy. And keeping it tidy helps reduce other risks that we have. We can maybe even remove some hazards during that time. So as the year progresses, you'll hear more about other activities that we have planned, but those are some of the primary ones.
Thank you, Mrs. Leonard, for sharing with us information on the health and safety workplace policy.
Thank you for having me.
Persons can review the health and safety workplace policy at bvi.gov.vg. That's it for today, guys. I'm Tree Smith, signing off. Be sure to tune into your daily feed of SnapComms, where we bring you news in a snap.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Twitter, and Facebook at BVI Government, and Instagram at GISBVI.
SnapComms is brought to you by the Disaster Recovery Coordinating Committee, Government of the Virgin Islands.